So, brethren, it's a pleasure being here once again. And all scriptures will be read from the King James Version Bible. So, I'll start. Today's topic will be for not the hearers of the law are justified, but the doers of the law shall be justified. So, that is Romans chapter 2, verse 13. The topic that I just mentioned and that text that I just quote from Romans chapter 2, verse 13 is often used by our Seventh-day Adventist friends to suggest to us that New Testament believers must keep the law to remain saved today, even though the New Testament is replete with advice to the contrary. To prove my point, I hereby invite you to consider the following. In Romans chapter 3, verse 20, it states, "By the deeds of the law, or by the keeping of the law, there shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by the law is the knowledge of sin." So that was Romans chapter 3, verse 20. And from St. Paul's epistle to the Galatians, we hear the Apostle Paul reminding the Apostle Peter of the following truth. So I'm reading from Galatians chapter 2, verse 16, which states, "Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Jesus Christ, for by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified." So that was Galatians chapter 2, verse 16. To reinforce the doctrine that no man is justified by keeping the law, we have the following irrefutable excerpt, which is read from Galatians chapter 3, verses 9 to 12, which states, "They which be of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham. For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. But that no man is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. And the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them, that is, keeps the law, shall live in them." So that's Galatians chapter 3, verses 9 to 12. From the passage that we just read, therefore, we must understand that the word justified in Romans chapter 2, verse 13, and the justified in Romans chapter 5, verse 1, which reads accordingly, "Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ." Those spelt alike do not have the same meaning. For if they did, that would have been a clear case of the Bible contradicting itself. Now, if what I have just said is true, and we all know that it is, then there must be an appropriate explanation for same, and quite rightly so. To understand what the Apostle Paul is saying in Romans chapter 2, verse 13, it would be helpful if you revisit snare number 8, which dealt with, "For he is not a Jew who is one outwardly, but one who is a Jew at heart or inwardly." So that's Romans chapter 2, verse 28. In that discourse, we saw where Paul was comparing the sincere Jews with the hypocritical ones. Moreover, we saw that a true Jew was a Jew who practiced Judaism from the heart and not one who simply subscribed to it with lip service. In addition, we also concluded that being a Jew at heart was not synonymous with being a Christian. For while a Christian had to be born again, a true Jew was one who practiced Judaism from the heart. It is in the message that I just shared, therefore, that this Romans chapter 2, verse 13 verse must be viewed and not in any other light. For Romans chapter 3, verse 20, Galatians chapter 3, verses 9 to 12 speak loudly to the fact that no man is justified by the law in God's sight. Moreover, since we are further told that the just shall live by faith, as Galatians 3:11 states, and that the law is not of faith, as Galatians 3, verse 12 states, we know that the justified of Romans 2, verse 13, and the justified of Romans 5, verse 1, which states, therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. That is Romans chapter 5, verse 1. Do not have the same meaning and should be treated accordingly. For while the word justified in Romans chapter 5, verse 1 means to be declared righteous in God's sight, the word justified in Romans 2, verse 13 means to be rewarded for one's obedience to the law. This, my dear brethren, is the correct interpretation of this Romans chapter 2, verse 13 verse, which could be rendered accordingly. For not the hearers of the law are rewarded, but the doers. I trust that you will have benefited and continue to benefit from the truth. Brethren, we must always remember that a faulty foundation is a sure recipe for superstructural disaster. The building must crumble inevitably. In like manner, when one remembers that Mrs. White's plan of salvation was only formulated after man sinned, courtesy her book, which is called The Early Writings, and look at page 149. Although God's plan was foreordained before the foundation of the world, as 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 20 states, and Titus chapter 1 verse 2 states, and initiated even at the foundation, as Revelation chapter 13 verse 8 states, or Hebrews chapter 4 verse 3 states, one can only expect doctrinal misinformation to be a permanent feature of her writings. As a consequence of the facts contained in the last paragraph, all her followers who have knowledge of the stated information in what I just shared and yet cling to her heretical doctrines are heading at breakneck speed to the fires of Gehenna to spend eternity with their deceived founders, White, Messengers White, and Miller forever. So, brethren, that is the end of my segment today, a very short one. I will be live next week again. Brethren, as I always plead, please spend time in reading the Bible. Spend time in reading the Bible. Brethren, these books that you read upon your occasional time, that is written by our brethren and our brothers, cannot help you. The Holy Bible is the only one that can help you draw closer to God if you want a spiritual breakthrough. Brethren, have a safe and productive week. Remember that Jesus Christ loves you and I love you. So bye for now.